Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Speak On It podcast. I am your host, Big Mike, and we are here to recap another week in sports. We are getting ready. It is football season. It is peak football season right now, and we are here. We got predictions. We got recaps. We've got everything on the way. We hope you had a great new year. We are ready to go, running a three-man weave tonight. You know I can't do this alone. As the mad producer, Podcast Poppy in the building.
Most wonderful time of the year, Mike.
This is a glorious time of year. And I've got my man Anthony in the building.
What it do? What it do? Let's get ready for these playoffs.
We are going to get ready for these playoffs. We're actually going to jump into recapping last week, though. The mega fight, the fight of the century, whatever you want to call it. Lions, Vikings, never had a break
down. Expectations were like for Tyson Paul, just for me to watch the game and feel like Tyson Paul.
All the hype going into it. Everybody thought it was going to be 53-52, and we was just going to be in a track meet. And that did happen. We had two good teams.
All I watched Aaron Glenn do all game was pin his ears back and we're like, we know Sam Darnold doesn't like pressure and handle pressure well. So we're going zero blitz every third down. Every third down.
He also didn't like throwing the ball after him either.
Don't fuck up. Well, that's what happens when it's like you fucked up the quarterback's clock.
Yeah.
You fucked up the quarterback's clock, and Sam, throughout his career, you put a little bit of pressure on him, and he just jumps. And that's the one thing that I watching that game really stuck out. I was like, that's something that hasn't changed. And as the Sam Darnold fan, where it's like, I still think he is the one who got away, right? He has his flaws. And it was glaring. I think the Lions gave a pretty good blueprint on how to beat Minnesota. Run the fucking football and apply pressure by any means.
And me and Dylan have said, we've had this conversation over and over again. If there was one thing that we knew that was Tom Brady's kryptonite, it was messing up his clock and getting pressure on him. If you could mess up his clock, that's why the Jets, the couple times that they beat him in the playoffs, did it.
Broncos.
That's why Ray and the Ravens had all that success against him. Pressure.
DeMarcus Ware, Von Miller, that in the year they won the Super Bowl, where Brady just had no time to breathe.
Mm-hmm. Pressure. If you get pressure on these quarterbacks and get them, as I call it, give them happy feet, they all, I don't care how great a quarterback, they all fold. It's a simple game. If you get pressure, especially pressure up the middle, they fold.
That's where Detroit was getting so much of their pressure.
Right up the middle.
They were doing great job on stunts, sending safeties off the edges, having their defensive end swap with the D tackle on those blitzes. They did such a great job, man. I know I am not a very big fan of Aaron Glenn because I do not think he has been a very good defensive coordinator over the last 4 years outside of this year when he finally has talent. Because if you're a good coordinator, you will find ways to create talent with what you have, and he hasn't done that. But he got talent, and he showed off that he can play. He can play call when he's got guys. So I hope whatever team hires him as a coach, I hope he has some guys.
Goes get him some guys. The best part of that game to me was towards the end of the game where they had that clip of him and he was just sitting. I think the Lions were on offense, and he was just sitting on the bench with his legs crossed, just chilling like
he called a masterclass. Yeah. He called an absolute.
That was a masterclass.
Like he took down a buzzsaw of an offense, and he did it, and he was locked the fuck in. I think it was right before halftime. They had a shot of Aaron Glenn with his play call sheet right in front of him as he's just like glaring, staring, just yelling into the microphone the calls that were going. And I was like, listen, man, if you were not a fan of Aaron Glenn or you were a team looking for a head coach and you watched him doing what he was doing and watching the product that was on the field, you'd be like, hire that fucking guy. Because he excellent shit. Like, he called the perfect game. He called a perfect game, and not once were the Lions in jeopardy. A single time. Like, they got to the red zone, and he said, I don't care. I'm covering Justin Jefferson one-on-one. Figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very Rex Ryan move.
Now, it helps, and I think I said this in the chat in real time, that for some reason, the Vikings, they were just forcing the ball to Justin Jefferson, like unnecessarily, just like, I don't care what defense you call, I'm throwing it to Justin Jefferson. I'm throwing it to him. And like, yeah, Justin Jefferson is at worst the third. At worst, you couldn't tell him. You can't name two better receivers than him.
No,
so at worst,
can't.
He's the third best receiver in the league. A lot of people, including me, would argue that he's the best receiver in the league.
He at worst he's 1B.
Exactly.
that
aside, you cannot just force him the ball over and over and over again. Like,
eventually you have to change. You have to figure something out.
But
defenses, like,
they didn't throw the ball to Addison
to
nearly enough. And I feel like they didn't throw the ball to Addison until like halfway through the second quarter for the first time. And it was on just like a dump.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's what we're doing?
Like, and
but you know the thing is,
working the playoffs. Okay.
If you watch the game though, I agree. But they could have gotten away with just forcing it to Jefferson. If you look at the reason why they couldn't score, it was either Darnold was throwing an inaccurate pass, overthrowing. There were a few that I think were more on Jefferson. He just didn't catch it when he should have caught it. Like, it's just because I was watching the Kevin O'Connell interview yesterday. He was like talking about the game. He's like, those are just things that it was an outlier game. Those are just things that don't happen at the end of the day, you know? And yeah, Darnold's getting pressure on him. Absolutely.
But at the same time, the things that went wrong were by design. Like, they lost the way the Lions wanted them to lose. They wanted them to lose throwing the ball to Jefferson as much as they did. They wanted Sam to beat them. I think that's exactly what it was.
And I think they wanted Sam to beat them in a specific way. And like I said, I think, to Anthony's point, I think Justin Jefferson did miss a few catches that, like, you could have helped.
He missed a few key catches.
You could have helped your quarterback. I think that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't really, you can fault me, but I don't really remember Sam Darnold's college career.
I do.
That game was probably the biggest game he's ever played in.
Yeah. He played the Rose Bowl his sophomore year, but that's not as big as this.
So,
like, it was the first time two 14-win teams met in the season.
And he's never played in the playoffs. So this was the biggest game of his career. And I think the funny thing is, I think he was, especially in those first two red zone drives where he just forced it and forced it and forced it. I thought he blessed you. I thought he looked nervous, which was fine because it's the biggest game in your career. You know, we all see these quarterbacks in their first playoff game. They're jittery. And by time he settled, the pressure his offensive line had already been eroded away. So now it's he hasn't settled into the game. His offensive line doesn't exist anymore. And they're down and they're losing. So they can't run the ball, which I don't know why they just stopped running the ball. But they can't run the ball. Like, Dylan.
They were down 2 scores and like, Aaron Jones, go sit down.
You get on me about praising these running backs and the value of them, and I know you say it's the league, it's the market.
The market is the market. You got Aaron Jones though. You can't be one-dimensional.
The most important positions in the game. if you can run the ball successfully, your odds of winning significantly increase. And when you don't run the
That is
ball
true.
and you become one-dimensional, you become very predictable and very easy to beat. Because now those great pass rushers, and I don't even know how Detroit was doing this because Detroit doesn't have
They're
great
blitzing.
pass. But now they can just pin their ears back and just go. And just go. So it's if Minnesota,
You can't abandon the run down 2 scores.
no,
because you're
Minnesota,
one punt away from being right back in it. You can't just tell Aaron Jones to sit the fuck down. You can't. And that's
not
like
in
Kevin
that
O'Connell.
building where it's loud and the momentum builds. And we're gonna see it. I'm telling you, it's gonna be the theme of the playoffs. I'm telling you right now, it's gonna be the theme of these entire playoffs. I'm willing to
Dan
bet the
Campbell
team
going up
that
to Kevin O'Connell and be like, "I see you in 2
seeing
weeks."
you in 2 weeks. If I'm that's on the bulletin board.
Yep. Granted,
Immediately.
it's a compliment. I
It
take it as
is,
a
but
compliment
it's
because, like, hey, I'll see you in 2 weeks because you're going to beat the team
That's
you're
not,
going to play. And
that's not a
play them
compliment.
again.
That's a reality. That's a reality. It's not a compliment.
Who does Minnesota have to play?
Minnesota is
The
playing.
Rams.
That's why I was like, I wouldn't just
Never mind.
dismiss
Let's
the
keep
Rams
quiet. Let's keep quiet.
when Puka
I'm not
and
keeping quiet.
Cup are healthy. I'm not just dismiss like that game. We'll get
The
into
Rams
it.
offense sputtered the past few weeks. Sputtered. They haven't looked good in a couple of weeks with
If
both
I've
of
learned
them playing.
anything from Matt Stafford, I've learned not to count him out on anything. So
Yeah, but also you got to think about that game. That was on a short week too, as well.
Their defense also isn't very good. So never mind. We'll see.
We'll see how it goes. We'll be making
There's a lot of head coaching candidates in this playoff. A lot of head coach candidates in the playoff. In the NFL playoffs, there's a lot of people who are getting interviewed for jobs.
Oh, like potential candidates. Okay.
Brian Flores, Josh McCown.
Flores is going to get a job. Flores is going to get this.
It better not be with me. It better not be with me.
You don't want Flores?
No.
Dylan and Roz under no circumstance want a defensive coordinator.
No. Not true. Not true. I don't want Brian Flores, not because I don't think he's a good defensive coordinator. I don't think he's a good head coach. I don't need my coach going and calling my quarterback a bitch all the time. Especially after what Ryan Fitzpatrick said, he was like towards like those last couple of years in Miami, he just became a dictator who couldn't connect with anybody. I don't need that. Granted, he could have went to coach school, hang out with Mike Tomlin for a little bit, and now hang out with Kevin O'Connell. I don't know. I also don't want to sit there and find out.
So, what defensive coordinator would you be okay with?
Outside of Rex, who are we interviewing? I'll get back to you on that. All I know is I don't want any of these offensive coaches we're interviewing.
It's funny. You don't want to, because Roz absolutely doesn't want a defensive coach under no circumstance.
He under no circumstance. And I'm just like, I don't think Aaron Glenn's a good coordinator. Right? So, like, my reasons, I have 4 years of Aaron Glenn as the defensive coordinator in Detroit to be like, hey, after what I've seen after 4 years, I'm good. Right? If the job was like Raz may say hiring Saleh was a mistake and we should have done that. At the time, that was the move to make. He was the number one coach, like, available. Like, he was the one. He always has been the one. Like, that was the guy. As a defensive coordinator, I know Saleh's going to do his thing because I've seen him turn undrafted guys into stars. So it's like, okay, cool. We rock. I understand Saleh. If Saleh's a defensive coordinator anywhere next year, you know you have a good coach, a great coach on that side, on that front. I can't say the same for Aaron Glenn, right? I can't say the same for that.
But
I can say that with Vrabel. Vrabel, I would have taken Vrabel in a heartbeat if the Patriots didn't fuck everything up.
I just want to throw something out too, Dylan. I don't think Aaron Glenn's entire resume as a defensive coordinator I can hear you on, but I have to give him a little bit more credit this year though,
Yes,
because they have third. But saying that
a
he's
lot of
only doing
injuries.
good with he's only good this year because he has good players. He has an obscene amount of players on IR, and that defense has gotten better over the last month. So let's
They
give
have
him a
gotten
little
better, but I
credit.
think
He
that
is coaching. He is coaching his ass off right now.
Do you remember what I've been saying about the weakness of that Lions team for the last 3 years has been?
What's the defense?
The
But
corners.
they're corners, yes.
And they upgraded corners, and he's free to do whatever they want. Instead of being able to make his corners playable that he had, they had to wait till they got guys who were already developed and already good. That's kind of my point there, where it's like it's the sad rule because you're not always going to have guys who are developed and good. You have to eventually develop somebody who is not a top tier talent. Like you have to make that work. DJ Reed with the Jets, when he was in San Francisco, he was a 5th round pick. And he was good when he got a chance to play. Like you turn that way. You become that way after you're coached up. And that's where it's like, that's where I give Aaron Glenn a little bit of a, I need to see a little more of like good defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn before I'm willing to sit there and be like, okay, you know what? Hire him. Because
And
I know he wants to be a Jet because he was a Jet. And I think that's really cool. But like, come on.
At that part, I won't argue with. I'm just my point is just he has done a really good job this year.
Yes, and and if I make it seem like I'm making him feel like he's not great or doing good this year, I don't want to do that. I want to give him all the credit he deserves.
He's coaching. He's coaching that pose of him sitting there like, yeah, that was well deserved. That was well deserved.
Keep Ron Rivera away from me.
Dylan,
if it was Ron Rivera 8 years ago, I'd be like, yup. But he's got his brain leaking out of his ear.
If y'all hire Ron Rivera, I feel bad. I already know where that's going.
I will laugh and I'll be happy for about 5 minutes because I get to wave my Puerto Rican flag around.
And
then and then I'll probably be like, cool, he can go now.
Like, yeah, I mean, see me with Tennessee right now. See me with the Titans. I was excited. We have a black GM. Yes, great. 6 months in, he can go.
Yeah, but I would know that immediately. It's like he would get hired. I'd hate it. I'd laugh. I wave the Puerto Rico flag, and then 10 minutes, I'm like, cool, we made a mistake. Yeah, we made a mistake.
Like he can go. He absolutely can
go. Brian Flores, again, I'm good on him. Vance Joseph.
I wouldn't hire him.
I wouldn't hire him either.
He showed me he's not a leader of men. He's a coordinator.
Like we're not interviewing the Raiders defensive coordinator, but that's like if we're gonna give defensive coordinator jobs,
he's not the one.
He's not the one either.
There are other ones out there to go get.
Spags.
Well, there.
I'm not gonna hire Spags.
Really? I would hire
because
Spags.
You would?
He's a terrible head coach.
I don't know, Dylan. He's been under Andy now for a while. I'm telling you, he's been under Andy for a while. I think he's better. I think I would hire.
I don't want to be the ones that find out, man. Again, like I don't want to take the gamble on these guys. If I would take the gamble on the guy, that's where it's like if I'm going to take a gamble on a guy I don't know, I'd rather take a gamble on the guy I already know, who might have also learned a thing or two, who I know bleeds this shit. Right?
And I'm just saying. When you sat under the greatest coach of all time for a few years now and won some chips,
he's not that. But
Andy's the GOAT, man. I'm telling. I've been saying it for 2 years now.
However, what I will say is, if we hire one of these fucking losers as head coach, they better consider bringing Rex Ryan on as defensive coordinator if he'll take that job.
Rex is not taking the coordinator.
Which, I also feel like if you're going to give Rex that job, you are trying to get fired.
Mm-hmm. Rex is not.
If you give Rex that defensive coordinator job, you are trying to get fired. Unless you hire like a Josh McCown if Josh McCown gets hired as your head coach, he's your play caller, who's Kevin O'Connell's quarterback coach or offense coordinator, whatever the fuck he is, and you need a
He's the
defensive
quarterback
guy.
coach.
If he's your defensive guy, he may help Josh McCown. Where it's like, okay, cool, but
until he undermines him and gets him fired.
And stabs in the back, and then Rex Ryan's like, I was always the head coach of this team. But like, if my choice is Matt Nagy and Brian Greasy,
you've been on this Matt Nagy
because I know what's gonna happen. It's there. I see it in the stars.
I mean, the speaky.
You see it in the stars.
I see it in the stars. The Jets are gonna swing and
do it,
miss on
do
every like major fucking head coach, and then we're gonna end up with Matt Nagy, and I'm gonna blame Roz. I'm gonna blame Roz because Roz was so gung ho on an offensive coordinator to be the head coach, and the Jets are fucking 12 years behind the league because we're only interviewing defensive guys when we're interviewing more offensive guys than defensive guys. And I don't like, how do the Jaguars have better interview candidates than we do? They're interviewing Robert Saleh, the guy you just coached. We just fired. What are we doing, Roz? What are we doing?
Robert Saleh doesn't fit Jacksonville either.
No, well, he used to coach there already.
Mm.
He was a linebacker coach there. The thing I read that I'm actually fucking pissed about is I heard that Vrabel might hire Saleh as his defensive coordinator. I'd fucking lose my mind.
For the Patriots?
I'd fucking lose my mind.
Oh, that's a dangerous 1-2 punch right there.
I would lose my shit. I'd have to sit here and be like, no fucking way.
Because Drake May, I'm telling you, Dylan, Drake May is real.
He's good. He's good. He's
and
better
if
than
they get a wide receiver, a couple
he's
of
better
them,
than I thought.
He's better than I thought.
And Saleh's going to fucking make that defense so fucking good if that's the case.
Because Gerard Mayo,
there's players there.
He already laid the foundation.
His players
now,
hated
Dylan,
him.
They played good. That defense played fine. He shouldn't have been fired. Like, we all know he shouldn't have been fired.
The Patriots did with him what Roz wanted the Jets to do every year to a Jet head coach if Harbaugh was available.
Yeah.
And Roz like, oh, that bullshit, they did that. I'm like, this is what you want the Jets to do at the idea of a guy being available.
And
if you know you have a chance to get Harbaugh, fire your head coach. And then if you don't get Harbaugh, you fired your head coach.
You look crazy. he's King Hindsight, though, so it doesn't matter. King Hindsight doesn't matter. Man.
I'm also not a fan of this crop of coaches at all, to be honest. I don't like these guys. I don't feel the same way I felt 4 years ago when we hired Saleh. Like that coaching class, I liked the guys that were available. I don't really like the guys that are available here. I don't trust any of them. And that's what sucks.
Somebody's going to hit. Somebody's
going to hit. And they are going to be lucky and happy when they hit. I just don't know who.
We could have said the same thing about the Falcons coach.
Raheem Morris?
Yeah. I feel like that's a hit. I feel like
that's a hit. I think because no matter what, they were better than they were last year.
Oh yeah.
They took a Kirk Cousins who was stitched together by fucking thread, who stopped being able to throw a fucking football as late as they could.
And he took too long. He took too long to switch to Penix because after seeing him play, I'm convinced if they had started him 2 weeks earlier, they'd be playing this weekend.
Yeah,
totally agree.
Yeah,
totally agree.
His error was he waited too long. He waited too long to pull the trigger.
I think he's lucky that ownership trusted him too.
Yeah,
because AP when he got fired, the report that came out was like he felt like he should have trusted his gut a little more, and that sucks.
especially because now he's fired, and I don't know if he's going to get another head coaching job.
He will he will be a DC this year. I guarantee he will be a DC this year.
Yeah, he'll get a defensive coordinator job. I don't think he'll be a head coach anytime soon, though.
I think if Rex gets hired, I could see Antonio. I could see Antonio Pierce being his DC if Rex gets hired.
I would love that.
Rex, together. Oh, those
I would love that.
Defensive rooms would be.
Oh yeah,
that's on hard.
I want nothing for the best for Pierce. I want him to do well wherever he goes.
Yeah, he got fucked.
A raw deal.
He got fucked.
A raw deal.
He should have been fired. And Mark Davis is an asshole for how he handled that because he made it clear to Antonio Pierce
super fucking asshole
last week with all of his Raider gear on. He's like, as far as I'm aware, Mark told me I'm the head coach.
Yeah, that's such a fucked up thing to do. Like, don't have him put out this press conference that's just surrounded by fucking clouds and shit, and you're over here just in the office, don't know what you want to do. If you don't know what you want to do yet, don't try him out there, because now he's over here looking stupid, and you're just gonna fire him right after. Like, that's just.
They did him dirty. I hope Pierce gets himself a job with a good staff. He deserved, that team fucked with him.
Yeah.
That team fucked with him. And Steve and I were a few weeks back because Hunter was like, I feel like Pierce is getting fired. Me and Steve were like, I don't think so. That team fucks with him. That they will rock for him. They believe in him. That's if you have your locker room like that, you can't get a
little talent. You get a little talent. That's dangerous.
The report that came out was Antonio Pierce doesn't have a quarterback. He feels like if he gets a quarterback, then they can make something happen. So I don't know who the fuck the Raiders are going to hire. That is a team I don't understand. Maybe Anthony, you could tell me better. I don't understand the Raiders. And if I'm a coach, this is no shade to you, Anthony, or your fandom, but if I'm a coach, why would I want to go coach the Raiders when they just fire you?
I don't disagree with that. I mean, again, I know you clearly don't see eye to eye with me on AOC. My only thing is towards the end of the year when we kind of got off the Ritter train and what's his face? He was out for the year with the injury. Thank God, no offense. AOC gave us some decent quarterback play. He gave us decent quarterback play. We should have beaten Kansas City. We were in that game. We almost beat them. I had not for some wacko call that saved them the game and shit. And then we won 2 in a row. We were actually looking somewhat of a competent team with halfway decent quarterback play. My biggest person at the end of the day is just that's all AP needed was decent quarterback play. You can't win with fucking Gardner Minshew and Desmond Ridder. Those two guys are horrible. I don't ever want to see Gardner Minshew play a snap of football again. I hate that man. He's so awful. When he came into the season, I was like, all right, he's okay. I could somewhere ride with him. I don't know what AP season this dude to pick him over AOC. Whatever. We start off. He didn't look too bad starting off. I mean, he played pretty well at Baltimore. Then after that, it was just it went down a fucking cliff.
So here's where I disagree. Where you said AP needed decent quarterback play. No, AP needed good quarterback play. If AP would have gotten good quarterback play, he probably still has a job. That's where it's and that's where I think the Raiders gave him the shit end of the stick by not going and getting somebody who could actually compete with AOC. Where it's if you're really going to start somebody over him, make sure that he's actually better. Where Gardner Minshew and AOC, I think, are on similar levels. Do I think AOC is a little bit better? Yeah, but and I understand why he went with him because he's the veteran. And he's okay, he gives me the better shot to win because he understands the league a little more. But Gardner Minshew was one of the first quarterbacks signed in free agency this year. That I don't understand. Why'd you go get Gardner Minshew and not Tyrod Taylor? That I don't understand. Tyrod Taylor is one of the best backup quarterbacks in football. For years he's been that. And the only reason he's ever lost his starting jobs is because of freak
malpractice.
Freak shit.
Yeah,
So it's if you were really going to be like, okay, let's ride with AOC, let's make him compete with somebody, make him compete with Tyrod, because if he beats Tyrod, then you're like, okay, you beat a top 32 quarterback and you deserve your job.
Facts.
Like that's malpractice. So like the GM should have been able to what, Tom Telesco, he should have gotten them a better quarterback to either back up AOC or actually compete with AOC. And probably should have pulled the Devontae Adams trade sooner. Not even to us, just in general, to then get that out of the way so you guys fully understand what your team is going into the season earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't have gotten rid of fucking Pierce, man. That's bullshit.
And before we move on, I just want to point out that the Gerard Mayo firing also doesn't sit right with me. And everything.
Doesn't sit right with me
Spade to
either.
spade. Let's call spade to spade. We could call the Gerard Mayo firing bullshit, and we could also call the Patriots out for being the worst abuser of the Rooney Rule, for trying to interview black head coaches who haven't been actually involved in the NFL in multiple seasons. Seasons.
That's why I was going to say everything I thought about Robert Kraft before he linked up with his rich black friends is exactly exactly true. Everything I thought is true.
Mm-hmm.
The single most like insulting use like of the Rooney Rule to just, we interviewed two black guys, like keep it moving. Like,
it's just
didn't even
not
try to interview two of the top candidates in Aaron Glenn, Brian Flores. Didn't even fucking try. Let's go get Byron Leftwich.
Byron I thought deserved to get at least a
years
look
ago.
at coaching job, but he's been out of the league now, really.
Like, that's just insulting. That, like, everybody who's a fan of the NFL should be sitting there like, what's that?
And didn't they interview Brian Leftwich before they hired Gerard Mayo too?
No, they didn't interview anybody.
They just went right to Gerard.
They had to, because it was contractually obligated. So that's why they got to avoid the Rooney Rule last time. Because he would have only been one. They would have had to have interviewed one more. So that's fucking nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Fuck that organization. I know Woody's a fucking dickhead, but come on. Like, Mike tried to call out the Jets for only interviewing white head coaches the other day. Hold on. When's the last time the Titans and Giants have had any black coaches in their organization? Go ahead, I'll wait. I've been alive for a couple. I've been alive.
The Giants are on the clock with me. They are on the clock.
Anthony sending a picture of Dart from Mississippi State. I was gonna respond, Mike, that's your Giant quarterback.
Paxton Dart.
That's your Giant quarterback.
It's coming. I'm telling you, Dylan, it's coming.
Mike said, "Fuck it, I don't care who's available. They have to take Jalen Milroe.
I don't care.
They have to take the bad quarterback. I don't care."
We cannot live in a world where the only black quarterback to start for your franchise in the history of the franchise is playing in Seattle right now.
Tyrod started.
Two. It's two now. It's two. I'm sorry. It's two. We doubled the number.
2 in 100 years.
We doubled the number. Progress.
2 in 100. That's one. That averages out to 1 every 50 years, Mike. Except you got it in like a 3-year span. The Jets have had more black quarterbacks on one team than the Giants have ever. The The Jets at one time literally had Geno Smith and Mike Vick on the same roster. Oh, God,
what
Mike.
was left of Mike Vick, yeah.
That Mike Vick still could throw the ball deep.
I mean,
Mike Vick still got the best deep ball I've ever seen.
I'm sure he can still throw the ball deep right now. I'm sure he can do
Probably
it right
killing
now.
his quarterbacks in practice.
Yeah, I'm sure he can do it right now. Them knees is the them knees.
Mike
don't
Vick still
work
got the
no
best deep ball I've ever seen.
I agree.
Best deep ball I've ever seen.
It was pretty, it was accurate, and it was so effortless.
That was the only part of his arm that was accurate, but yeah.
It was so effortless.
Not to Mike Vick. I got his son in college football 25. 96 kick power freshman, Mike Vick.
Is there anything else in football we need to? Oh, you know what I did want to? I was curious to ask you because we did this a couple weeks ago, and we have to be fair here on this show, even though I think it's sacrilegious. If the Steelers lose, is Mike Tomlin in trouble? Like fired?
I don't think they'll do the "you're fired" thing. I think
his seat will warm up a little bit.
Hey, go find somewhere. Go find a job. You go. We give you permission to talk to whoever you need to talk to. We'll work out a deal.
So fire him without firing.
They'll trade him. Listen, after the way they're treating black quarterbacks, black coaches and black GMs, to give him the, hey, go find your job, that's probably the utmost respect you could get at that point, right? Granted, the Steelers are also a classy organization.
And if that happens, if I'm the Chicago Bears, I'm giving every bit of that franchise up tomorrow.
I will hand deliver a bacon, egg, and cheese to that interview with fucking Woody Johnson and Mike Tannenbaum, and I will personally give Mike Tomlin whatever he's asking for. You want a booth? You got a booth. You want a private jet? Everything Juan Soto got and then some. I will guarantee Mike Tomlin. Guarantee.
Because the way the Bears, the Jets, the Jaguars, the Panthers, the Saints should just rename Bourbon Street Tomlin Street.
I will kill. If Mike Tomlin becomes available, you have to do everything in your power to get that to happen. Like, I would deal with Aaron Rodgers for one more year if it means I got Mike Tomlin as my head coach.
Mike Tomlin's not going to deal with that bullshit. And Mike Tomlin will bench Aaron Rodgers and not.
I know.
Although I think Rex would bench him too. I think
you
Rex
see what I want.
Rex would bench him too.
Because I'm fully prepared for Aaron Rodgers to be here next year. I don't think he will be, but I'm fully prepared for him to be here next year, and me predict the Jets to have 4 wins, right? And then just to be spited. Because eventually that's just what's going to end up happening. I'm going to get fucking spited, right? I'd be totally cool with that if I knew the head coach that was running the team was going to look Aaron in his face. Fuck you. You stink. Sit. Tyrod, let's go.
Oh, by the way, Dylan, top 5 Jet season of all time.
No.
Top 5.
No. Top 5 couple categories, but not total, because we won 5 games, so it doesn't matter.
5 Jet season.
And he did it with an extra game.
Oh, here you go qualifying. Here you go.
My name's Aaron Rodgers, and I can only have a top 5 quarterback Jet season with 17 games.
Nah, don't do that. Don't do that.
Aaron Rodgers, man. Fuck Aaron Rodgers. I'm so sick of his ass. I'm so sick of him.
I know Breezy is backstage. I don't know. I probably should just let him bring it up since it was his point. But he also brought up He thinks, and I agree with him, that you, Dylan, hold Derrick Henry an apology.
I do owe Derrick Henry an apology, and I absolutely will give Derrick Henry an apology. Because my stuff for Derrick Henry last year was absolutely me pissing you off to no extent, and more so shitting on the Titans because I knew where this was going. But no, I owe Derrick Henry an apology, and I'll give Derrick Henry an apology. I apologize to Derrick Henry.
It's not why.
No.
Never was.
Granted, he still needs to be used more.
Yeah, he needs to be used more. If Baltimore is going to win the Super Bowl, Derrick Henry has to be
25 carries a game.
He's got to be the reason. Because that's how you beat Kansas City. And that's how you beat Buffalo.
That's how you beat any of these teams. You have to be able to run the ball down their fucking throat.
It's the trend. When we play the music in a little while, I'll expunge on that a little more. I don't know if I just use expunge right, but I will expand on that point. You got to run the ball.
If Baltimore wants to make the Super Bowl, you run the fucking football. That's your path. You do what all these other teams besides the Chargers won't. Run the fucking football.
So, yes. Shout out to the Hulk because
he deserves it. I will apologize when I need to apologize. And I knew this moment was coming. Where one of y'all would call me out.
He was wrong.
Shout out to my sister. Got me this cool cup.
It's not very cool.
Sometimes makes water taste like shit. But like what?
Shout out to the knives that claimed your finger.
Yo, my fingertip is finally like back. Shout out to moms. Hook me up with the neon sign. I was like, you can go right back to next to my picture of Brett fucking Favre. And my stepdad just goes, don't you hate Brett Favre? I'm like, yup.
But he's right behind you every week.
Yep. Got him every week because it's just a reminder of how much I fucking hate this team.
Terrible. Before we get into
our next 40-year-old quarterback, I'll replace that with a Rodgers one. 10 years when we signed Jordan Love.
I was trying to think. I was like, well, which 40-year-old quarterback is next for you guys? Is it?
I'll be reading the book for the third time.
Is it Kirk Cousins? Is it? I don't know who it's going to be. Is it Derek Carr?
No, it'll be the next 4-year-old quarterback is going to be another Packer, and I'll sit here and like, I've read this story 2 times before, and it ended bad both times. With a selfish old man from Green Bay.
But before Breezy joins us, there's not a lot of basketball to talk about. We'll see. There's not much to talk about right now, except for the Cavs and the Thunder playing a great game. It's time for me and Dylan to have some fun because it's time to talk college football. And boy, oh boy, me and Dylan, we got a nice couple of days coming because as we recap the college football playoff, I think we did a little bit at the Speaky Awards. We went into it a little bit. Now that we're closer to game time, there's no more. We actually did make our predictions at the Speakies. I will give you a chance to change your mind if you want to.
No. I'm going Ohio State, Penn State still. I'm still going to go Ohio State, Penn State.
I am still reluctantly, because I think Penn State has a good chance of winning, but I am reluctantly going Notre Dame, Texas. I do think Texas is going to win. I don't know. I just think Texas is better. I can't give you a rhyme or reason. I know that they have that monster over there that's catching the ball every play for a touchdown, but I just think Texas is just a little better than them. I think Texas has a better quarterback. I think Texas has the better coach.
Texas absolutely has the better quarterback and has the better coach.
And I think Texas's defense is a little better. So
I think Ohio State has the talent.
I mean, the kicker, yeah. I mean, we'll see.
These next 2 games have major like draft implications because
Yeah.
You need to figure out what Quinn Ewers is doing. And if Quinn Ewers balls out these next 2 games, hey, I'm going to the draft. There's your third quarterback. To be honest, Mike,
because I know where you're going.
Let me tell you something. The performances in these next 2 games, if Texas goes there and they're really good, you know who they're going to drop. They're going to drop Shador to QB3.
Yeah. I will not be a Giants fan if that happens.
Well, don't worry. You probably won't be a Giant fan anyway because the Browns are also going to take a quarterback.
Giannis just had a great block.
We don't talk about that, man.
At the rim.
That
was almost the centerpiece of your franchise.
Never will be. Never was.
Man, you deserve that. More than anything, you deserve.
I don't deserve none of that.
You deserve that so much.
None of it. None of it. I deserve De'Aaron Fox next year. That's what I deserve.
Mm-hmm.
And Cooper Flag. De'Aaron Fox and Cooper Flag.
Cooper Flag might be on your team next year.
Yeah, I don't know. We keep winning bullshit games. As long as I end
26.
up. No, that's not happening. We just lost again tonight to Detroit. So, as long as I could end up leaving the draft with Dylan Harper, I'm cool because that boy can ball. He can play. But
that's 26. It's still a thing.
No, never will be. But
it's absolutely in play too.
Giant 2 quarterbacks going 1-2, and the Giants will either take Travis Hunter or whatever quarterback they're gonna reach to pick. Because Dable and Shane are on the fucking seat of death at this point. You either set up the next guy with this shitty quarterback that he can't fix, or you set him up with a good either wide receiver and or corner. Because Deontay Banks stinks and you need somebody else next to Neighbors. So
I don't know what the Giants have to take a quarterback. They need another receiver, but they need a quarterback. Like they
get a receiver later.
Yeah, that's what they have 2 backup quarterbacks as their quarterback. They need a quarterback unless they're gonna go try and sign one, which
is kind of my point to what Anthony said yesterday, where he was like, what do you like? If you're the Titans, do you go and try to sign a quarterback or just draft one? I'm like, this class of free agent quarterbacks kind of stinks.
Yeah. No. I'll take Cam Ward over.
Yeah. Give me 5 years with control versus a quarterback on a 1-year deal who either is going to play really well and now my cap situation is fucked because I have to sign him to more than 1 year because we overpay for 1 year in the NFL, or he's bad. I lost a year of what I have. Everybody's now more expensive and I have a shit ton of work still to do because I don't have a quarterback. So
gotta draft one.
Just draft one.
Texas Ohio State is definitely the national championship game, but
maybe there's just a world that we live in where I think this game is a blowout.
Which one? Texas Ohio State?
Mm-hmm.
Well, because Ohio State are front runners. They try to run to a big lead and then just run away. So
that's what I'm saying. If this game is a fucking blowout, it's not because of Texas. It'll be because Ohio State's just scoring at will. That's the scary part about this Ohio State team. Like, I don't think the quarterback's as good, but they have Bugattis, like 1 through 4 at wide receiver. Everywhere. We really need to start calling Ohio State like wide receiver U, because there is nothing but a plethora of Ohio State wide receivers in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all fucking good. They're all doing really good. They're all really good. Especially like just in the last 3 years, you have like 4 that are really fucking good. Not counting guys like, did you know Terry McLaurin and Garrett Wilson were on the same team at one point?
I didn't know they were on the same team. No.
Terry was a senior. And Olave and Garrett Wilson were freshmen.
Wow. I did not
And then
know
they
that.
get going. They have Jackson Smith and Jigba And who was Garrett and Olave's freshman? Marvin Harrison Jr.
The circle of life. It's the circle. But if you're a great wide receiver, you either went to Ohio State or LSU. That's it.
Bama.
And Bama a little bit.
Bama has like the last 7 years, they have a lot of good ones too.
Bama too.
LSU for that Burrow run at LSU is kind of what did everybody in, where it's like, oh shit. That Burrow run where it's like, okay, cool. The two best wide receivers in the NFL were Burrow's wide receivers in college.
Which is crazy.
Jamar Chase, the Biletnikoff Award winner as a freshman. Fucking wild. And there was a team that took a wide receiver over Justin Jefferson. Not even just any wide receiver, because you could CeeDee Lamb, okay. Cool. You could do that. That's fine. Whatever. But if you took Jalen Reagor over fucking Justin Jefferson, Philly, stupid. Dumb as fuck.
Because that's just scary to think about.
Penn State, Notre Dame. Drew Aller is good. He's a good quarterback. That's it.
He's not an NFL quarterback, though.
He is.
Starter?
Next year he will be. Next year he will be. Because he's going to the draft next year. He's one of the top 4 quarterbacks next year's class. Right now.
He's a good college quarterback.
He will go. He's going to get drafted. He is. You don't see it now. He's going to get drafted.
He's not an NFL. We'll see if he takes a jump next year, but I don't think he's an NFL quarterback. I look at him, and at best, he's a backup. I don't see an NFL.
I mean, a backup is an NFL quarterback.
Okay.
All right. I don't think he's great by any means.
He's a good college quarterback.
I think he's a good quarterback. Good college quarterback. He will be in the first round next year, I believe. Next year's class is kind of all right, but like, it's the Arch Manning class,
and we know
this is the year to be bad. This is the year to be bad.
We know.
Take.
Arch.
Oh God.
Listen, Anthony. Maybe y'all should sign AOC. Maybe y'all should, because Arch is coming, and you may not know it,
the
but
truth.
Me and Dylan know it.
The truth.
Arch Manning is the truth.
Truth. This is.
Yo, why don't you guys tank for him? Keep Rodgers for another year.
I would love to. My goal here is fuck playing Rodgers, fuck playing Tyrod, fuck playing Jordan Travis, right? Let Jordan Travis come back for his broken leg and let him just be fucking QB4. Play Adrian Martinez for 17 games.
I forgot Jordan was on your team. Dylan, you might have the diamond right in front of you right now.
That's the problem here, where him not being able to recover correctly, or not recover correctly, that's just assuming he did something wrong, but him having a setback in his recovery kind of fucked me up this year, because he's the quarterback, if we're going to take one later, that I wanted. Because I think Jordan Travis is good. Right? Too. He was a good college quarterback. He was going to be a second-round pick, maybe first round, like at back end, because quarterbacks get overvalued at times. Before he broke his leg, he was going to be a top 2 draft round pick. I'm very interested in that. But at the same time, we also only invested a 4th rounder in him. So if we don't invest too much into him, like, I get it. I understand. I'm not going to sit here and throw a fit over it. It is what it is. But if he somehow sits there and is like, yo, he's like, if I see him in the preseason next year and he looks decent, like, and again, I weigh preseason differently because these are mostly guys who don't fucking make the NFL. But for a guy who's coming off a broken leg, didn't play at all in the NFL, played in a system that you're like, learned a system that he never really got to play in, I'd be impressed to see how he does in that. And I'd be like, cool, Rodgers stinks. Throw Jordan in the game. Tyrod, you keep sitting. Keep being a pro. You be the one that talks to Jordan. Don't let Aaron talk to him. He's going to ask him what he thinks about ayahuasca and fucking 9/11.
Does he think the is real?
Right. Is the moon made of cheese? Hack fucking conspiracy shit. Can jet fuel melt steel beams? So I don't want that. I like Jordan Travis. If we drafted a guy to replace him, again, he's a 4th round pick coming off of a broken leg. I get it. But I would like to see whoever is the coach give him a shot. Give him a shot to at least play in the preseason. Like be QB1 in the preseason.
Well, you'll probably sit because if Aaron does come back, Aaron doesn't play in the preseason.
No.
At all. So, I mean, there's a good chance you'll see it.
I would love to see it.
One thing I know, Aaron Rodgers is not touching.
Aaron wanted to. Aaron wanted to play in the preseason. And Saleh was like, no, sir. You ain't seen the field. Like, you need to have one game where they all play a little bit. You get a series. All right, cool. All the scripted plays are done. See you later. But, oh, well. It is what it is.
We have 4 minutes, Dylan. I have nothing else. I also have. You don't have nothing else? We're just going to get 4 extra minutes of picks?
4 extra minutes of picks. How many times am I going to pick Ohio State over Texas? 4. We can use this 4 minutes. Anthony, what head coaching candidates do you want? Rank them 1 through 3, realistic. Ben Johnson doesn't count.
Damn.
Ben Johnson doesn't count.
I wouldn't mind getting Aaron Glenn, Spags. I like Kellen Moore.
That's the
Those are my 3 outside of Ben Johnson.
Kellen Moore is the one I also really just don't understand.
That also would be great if he became their head coach. I would.
We're not interviewing.
It would absolutely.
We're not.
I would love for Roz to have to deal with that every week. Oh,
I'd be like, fire him before he gets back into the building. Because there's no shot, like, before this year, like, he was handed keys to a Bugatti, and, like, granted, he just decided to run the football all year finally. The last 2 years he has run a horrible offense. For each team that he was with, the last 2 teams he was with, he ran horrible offenses into the fucking ground. So it's like, I can't want that. I'm good. I hate this group of head coaching candidates. I fucking hate them. I hate them. I can't get the 2 guys I want. I hate everybody else. I want Vrabel, I want Ben Johnson, and neither one of them are coming here.
Where do you think Ben Johnson's going to go?
I think Ben Johnson is either going to be a Bear or a Jag.
I don't think he's going to the Bears. I don't think he wants to be looking up at the fucking 3-headed monster in the NFC North. I don't think he wants to do that.
I think Ben Johnson and the Bears, you get them offensive line, and holy shit, you're looking at a fucking freak team.
Can you say the same thing about the Jaguars?
No, you hand him on the Jaguars, and I think they're good, but the rest of that division stinks. So, like, he could win that division, potentially. The Bears, there is just so much talent there. If you're an offensive guy and you're just like, yo, the biggest problem with this Bears team was they had idiots calling the plays, and I'm so much better than them. Get me some offensive linemen, and we have ourselves a fucking shot to win some games. You make this defense actually play with a lead from time to time. Different ball game. You tap into some of the greatness that Caleb Williams has.
Yeah, but the thing is, you do the same thing you just said. You do it to Jacksonville, you easily win the AFC South.
Yeah, but
everything you just said, that still doesn't guarantee. What do you think about Trevor Lawrence in comparison to Caleb Williams?
I think Trevor Lawrence is a really good quarterback, or has the potential to be a really good quarterback. Now, ask me how I feel about the Jaguars' weapons compared to Chicago's weapons.
How do you feel about them?
I think Chicago has a Bugatti in 3 different wide receivers, and the Jaguars don't. I think the Bears have 3 good wide receivers. I think they have a really solid.
Brian Thomas Jr. is better than 2 of those 3 receivers, Dylan. He's better than 2 out of those 3 guys.
He's the only one. You have one Brian Thomas. I have 3 really good receivers. I have a solid tight end in Cole Kmet. I have a stable running backs that I could use.
That is true.
I just need an offensive line. And smart play calls, and to play to the strengths of this team. That's where it's like the Jaguars' job could be interesting because you have Trevor, but you have nothing else on either side of the ball. Like Brian Thomas Jr. I'm not going to disrespect him. Let me stop doing that. But besides Trevor and Brian Thomas Jr., you have nothing on defense, nothing on offense. The Bears have a defense already. They just need the correct people to call the offense for Caleb. Make Caleb shine like the star that he is.
No, I see where you're coming from.
4,000-yard passer. And he had what? Like a 6-game streak with no turnovers, despite having that shitty offensive line and running for his life. That game.
The only thing is because my only thing is I see the Jags and the Bears. They're both mediocre teams. The thing is with the Jaguars, you just have to get them to be average, and they win the South. With the Bears, you have to get them to be really good, borderline elite to get them through the North at the end of the day. Because yes, you can make the Bears better, but the Lions are also going to be better too as well. Because believe it or not, the Lions have money. The Lions have money. The Packers are one of the youngest teams, if not the youngest.
Johnson. That will be the thing. They won't have Ben Johnson, and they won't have Aaron Glenn. So how much different is the...
You think they're losing both of them?
Yeah, I think they're both gone.
I don't know if they're both gone.
I think they're both gone.
I don't think they're both.
They're both going to get whatever offer they want. They will both get whatever team they want. Like, if Aaron wants the Jets, he's not going to get the Jets. I hope not. I really hope not. But there's still a world where he get head coach. I have to just sit there like, okay. Like, I wouldn't be horribly mad at it, but it's like, whatever. I'll give him a shot because that's the job he wants. He's either going to be the Jet head coach or he's going to be the Saints head coach. That's it. I think that's where he wants to be. Either one of those. If anybody doesn't go, it'll be Ben Johnson. But you're not going to get many opportunities where you have a team that's already 90% built, where you just need to put in your wall. And that's what I think Chicago is.
I wouldn't say 90%.
I mean, you got everything but your offensive line. You have everything you need. On the defensive side,
I'm trying to think of any of the weaknesses.
You have your corners. You have your
the corners are really. Jalen Johnson's nasty.
Dog.
Yeah, you might be right. I think it's really just the offensive line.
You have everybody you need. Like, the defense just got paid.
Is their kicker good?
You find them now. They just hire guys off the street now at the kicker. Like, it's
some pretty bad kickers this year, Dylan.
I know the great one of the greatest kickers of all time was terrible this year. I know, but you just find guys. You just have to hope you find one that is good this year.
I don't think it's as simple as it used to be anymore.
No,
some kickers have been losing teams games this year.
It is what it is. But if your worst part is our kicker stinks, don't put yourself in a position where you need your kicker to save you. Win the games without him. You don't have to worry about your kids losing you games if you just keep scoring touchdowns. 6 is more than 3. So if Detroit loses both, Detroit could be different.
Detroit could be very different. And we'll see how good Mad Dog really is.
And we still don't know what's up with Minnesota going forward. We're assuming Sam's going to stay there. We have no idea.
Division's prime for Green Bay to take over once again.
Depends on the postseason. Depends on his postseason play.
Even if Sam's terrible, I think the Vikings are going to try to bring him back on a either franchise tag year or like a 2-year prove it.
If he lays an egg again,
franchise, you still franchise tag him because then you can be like, well, why am I going to give you a contract? You were good in the regular season, we got the postseason, you sucked. Prove it. Because then you protect the organization. You still have JJ McCarthy, whatever you think of him, to come in and step in if Sam continues to like, because he does have that like switch where it's like he becomes very depressed and he stays bad. Like that switch is very much so there. If you take his confidence away, he is very much so just like, oh God, I'm bad. Don't make a mistake. Don't make a mistake. Fuck a mistake.
And that comes
on the flip side,
that comes from being a Jets quarterback.
That comes from Matt. That comes from Adam. Sam Darnold is, I shit you not. Like Sam Darnold got like Adam Gase would just sit there and just yell at him. Yell at him. And not talk to him at all. Zach just kept making dumb mistakes. Zach made more dumb mistakes than Sam did. And it's like, you deserve to be scrutinized and yelled at. Fuck you. I also never thought Zach was the one. I thought Sam was the one. So I still look that way at him. But yeah, you have the freedom to be like, we protected us. We don't have a lot of money invested in the quarterback. We can move on from him if he's bad. We still have JJ. Oh, shit, we just freed up X amount of millions of dollars to go address other needs.
On the flip side, if Darnold balls out, I don't think JJ's staying on that team. I think they're going to trade him.
I still think you need to hold JJ.
I think he absolutely gets traded.
I see, because if he balls out, you give Sam Darnold a 3-year deal where most of his guarantees are early on. So once you get to that second year or third year, the money to cut your losses isn't a lot. And it's like, oh, it's a tradable contract, blah, 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 blah. You do what you need to do to make sure that, like, hey, we have a smooth transition to JJ just in case he turns into a pumpkin. Like, it's my main thing here is the teams have to protect themselves off these teams or these quarterbacks who perform for 1 year, who only have a history of 1 year.
No, I agree.
Love Sam, but I can't give you a fucking 4-year contract when you've only been like really like elite level talent 1 year in your career. That's tough.
I saw a report that said that he can garner $200 million. Like, I was like, what?
Ooh,
where?
Yeah,
the Raiders.
They.
What did he say?
Raiders so down bad. Darnold, here is $500 million.
What?
But I was saying before, is like, if Darnold plays well in the postseason, win or lose the game, but if he plays well, and I'm the Tennessee Titans, I'm not saying you should do it, because I still think Cam Ward is a great option. But that's something to think about. You get Sam Darnold, you trade down, get a haul, you address other needs. I mean, at least entertain the option.
Hey, Mike, how do you feel about that?
I thought about it, Anthony. Pass.
You know what's gonna happen? Sam Darnold's gonna get on a flight to Tennessee. He's getting a phone call. Yeah, Minnesota's placed a tag on you. Cancel your flight. Nobody's getting a meeting with Sam Darnold. Nobody. The Vikings aren't letting him do anything. The second they can franchise tag, you're it.
That's it. You're done. You're done. Come on back home. Come on back. School.
We need to put you in for one more semester of quarterback school before you leave.
All right. Well, make sure if you listen to us, thank you for watching, listening. Make sure you hit that like, share, subscribe button. Hit that notification button so you know when we go live. But it's time, once again, one more time, for our football. Hit the music.
All right, so we've completed the season.
Yes.
We've completed the season. I didn't bother doing the math because at the end of the day, the math didn't matter.
Nope.
It didn't matter because Mike locked in first place on Saturday night when the Ravens won. Because Roz unknowingly picked the same teams that Mike picked. So,
Rookie.
a world where Mike could have lost and Roz would have went perfect and tied it and made it interesting. Alas, that did not happen. Mike secured first place. So Mike is the winner of the first inaugural confidence pool. Round of applause for Michael.
Thank you. Thank you.
The only advice I'll give to myself and
Yes. Dylan, you're muted.
Can I hear you, Dylan?
Dylan, you are. There you go. Oh, nope. You muted again.
No, go back. No, yeah, you did it again.
Yeah, just click the button and then you're not muted. I'll feel free to help you out if you need. Oh, your microphone is not working. Oh. Well, I'll take
Shit.
while he's having technical difficulties to make my victory speech. It all started as you found out on Sunday during a long 3-hour.
Fuck this bullshit.
All of this started on November 28th when a simple joke turned into a 2-week battle.
Oh, God.
On that day, words were said, beef was started. I'll have Dylan confirm when he comes back. But I think from that day, when a simple miscount of who was in the lead turned into a whole beef. To my not, and Dylan can correct it. And well, not because I got Buffalo decided not to play on Sunday. So outside of the Buffalo game where they just decided not to play, I think I got 1 or maybe 2 games wrong the rest of the season because a point had to be proven. And now I'm here, the victor, the winner, the prediction king, and my reward for being the prediction king is getting to pick where we go out to eat for our post-football season dinner. And unfortunately for Anthony, the did not get the job done and the Jets won. Anthony will be covering the tab. For me.
Some bullshit.
For me.
Can't win them all.
There are many. Anthony made a furious comeback. I thought he might sneak in.
You know what screw me? Fucking Buccaneers games will screw me.
Still can't hear you, Dylan.
Can't hear you, Dylan.
Nope. But we will be going out Anthony will be paying for my food, which will be great. Location to be determined. I still have a couple weeks to figure that out.
Hello.
Dylan, welcome.
There you are.
Hello. I don't know what the fuck happened. My computer crashed. So can't wait to watch that later. So yes, Anthony is in last place because we had all the same picks except for one. Because Anthony's hatred for the Chargers costs him again. Cost him again. So, with that, I'm sure you guys have already said Anthony has to pay for Mike for our group little dinner. So, this podcast wouldn't be anything if Anthony doesn't lose something.
No extra drink smoke.
Well, I thought we were going to do the postseason for drinks, but Ross doesn't want to do that. So,
which is so silly.
It's fine. It's
just so silly. Like I proposed the idea originally of, hey, why don't we go to the Super Bowl? And Ross said, I thought Ross would be on my side here because then he's like, oh, I got more chances to come back. And he said no. And I was like, you know what? It's fine because it would have been split because I know Anthony would have been on my side because Anthony would have gotten another shot to not be last place. But Mike and Ross were also there. So I was like, well, we're split. Can't go.
Can't do it.
But
for kicks and giggles, we can still do it if you want.
We can still do it. So now I can do
for pride.
I can clear out all these.
You have the final points?
No, I didn't add anything. It didn't make a difference to me because we all lost.
I just want the final total. And then yeah, you can clear it out once you.
Actually, give me 1 second. I can get it because I sent the last standings, and then I can just go from there.
Well, Anthony,
only because you lost your 1 point. I believe.
I lost my one.
Yeah, so you scored 5.
Buffalo decided not to play.
We love that.
Love that. They were just like, yeah, we don't care. We don't care. And New England promptly said, "Heard you." As did Denver. When Kansas City said, yeah, we're just gonna play our G League guys. Denver was like, heard you. 38-0. Hold that.
Mike, you scored 75.
75 for the win. If I had to guess, I would say Roz 72, 73.
73. I got 68. Anthony got 66.
Yeah. 2 points. 2 points. At Arizona game. Oh yeah. We love it. We love it.
So shout out to Anthony for being a good sport. Even though he was being a Karen for many weeks, complaining that Mike was winning. Mike was picking cupcake picks, yo. You were too. You were also picking cupcake games.
There are no more cupcakes now.
My only regret is early on, I was picky out of 8. I was picky out of 8. And then I was like, oh man, I really can't catch up to first. I did fight for second though. I
thought you was gonna catch Roz. I thought you was.
No, hold on. I did make some real picks. Hold on. Let us pause that for a second, all right? When the Vikings took on the Lions that first game, nobody touched that game but me, all right? When the Vikings faced the Packers, no one also touched that game but me, all right? So let's kill that narrative real quick, all right?
Or anybody else. Like, what are we doing here?
Cupcake picks. Cupcake picks.
You can also kill the
Cupcake picks.
For week 17 when I didn't get my picks in time and had to
correct.
And had to pick the 3 late games and got all 3 right. So don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't want to hear
Do
it.
that.
Well, don't want to hear it. What's that?
And nobody's a sorer loser than Anthony. Well,
Oh.
Anthony, since you are
Last.
fucking last place as fuck, what do you got?
I have the Chargers over the Texans. That's an easy one.
I told you, Mike.
Let's see. The Vikings over the Rams. Was that?
Confidence pick.
Confident.
Oh yeah, it's that's gonna be my 2-pointer. The Chargers over the Texans. Vikings over the Rams is gonna be my 3-pointer.
Wow.
And my 1-pointer will be the Commanders over the Buccaneers.
Going against Baker.
I like the Commanders.
I do too.
1 second, confidence picks. Anthony. 3 is Vikings.
Watch Anthony win the playoffs.
Right? With no prize. All right. Me. My 3-point pick is going to be the Commanders over the Buccaneers.
That's your 3?
Yes.
Wow. Dylan standing on business.
And on business.
Standing on business.
My 2-point pick is going to be the Ravens over the Steelers. And this is where I need to fight myself. I need to save myself from myself.
I'll say the Rams over the Vikings.
No, that's not what he's gonna say.
No.
That's not what he's gonna say.
My 1-point pick is the Broncos over the Bills.
There it is.
Oh, you know what? I can't even front. Because I wanted to say Denver over Buffalo too as well. I had to low-key fight myself on that.
That's going to be a great game.
I really wanted to say Denver over Buffalo. I just didn't have the balls to say it. But I think I told Mike Runny, I was like, I see an upset this week. I just didn't want to say nothing. That's the game. That's the game I'm talking about.
Like, I think
I see a world where Denver could win. That's all I'm going to say.
I truly believe Denver has the defense to win this fucking game. And you just need Bo Nix to not fucking lose. And he has gotten good enough to the point where I don't think he's going to do that. Like, this could really be the game of the fucking week. To me.
The game of the week is going to be Washington Tampa Bay. That is going to be a fun
Yeah, that's going to be a game.
If Marshawn Lattimore plays,
that's
going to be hell.
That's going to be a fun game to watch.
Because, like, you trade Lattimore and Mike Evans is like, hell yeah, like, I'm good. And then you meet the team that has Marshawn Lattimore in the playoffs, and you're just like, fuck!
I'll be honest with you.
Fight. He might get kicked out of this game.
The only gimme I see here is Chargers over the Texans. That's it.
I don't think there's any gimmies. Because I can see a world where the Chargers win that game. I mean, the Texans win that game. I don't think there's a gimme. I think everything can be.
I don't.
Just hate Texans, but
Texans are.
But I hate the Chargers too. I hate the Chargers too, doing.
Yeah, but you.
Well, I think I was literally last place and I was betting against the Chargers all year. All right.
But you have to admit, you can't deny what the Chargers have become this year.
Yeah, and it's much better than what I've seen from Houston. A lot better. Like, come on, man.
Houston has the ability for big plays. And that's what's eventually...
against the team that gave up the fewest points in the league?
I think there is a way where they can still score. Like, there's going to be some big plays here. I think it's going to be a close game. I don't think it's going to be a high. I think you're looking at like a 21-17 game.
And let's hope that Quentin Johnson game wasn't just a fluke, because if this is his coming out party, whew, this is going to be in for a long day.
There's been two different Quentin Johnsons this year, where you've had the Quentin Johnson who was catching, and then the Quentin Johnson who just forgot again. So, we'll see. The thing is, the Texans need to watch out for Ladarius McConkey. That's what they need to do. They need to worry about Ladarius McConkey because he is balling. Balling.
Mm-hmm.
I told y'all in the fantasy football draft who was wide receiver 1 on that fucking Charger team.
Dylan absolutely told me.
The little white boy named Ladd.
Dylan absolutely told me he was going to be the best. Not the best player, but
if you
he was wide receiver 1, Ladarius McConkey.
If you get good, but if you get good Quentin Johnson, it's a wrap. It is a absolute wrap.
You have to gamble though.
Huh?
But you have to gamble on it. But the Texans have a good secondary. The Texans have a good pass rush. Granted, the Chargers have a good offensive line. I think the Chargers are going to run the football down the throat, and then they're going to play action, deep shot. That's going to be the name of the game. Very simple Jim Harbaugh football. Very simple Harbaugh football.
We will begin the confidence picks for the playoffs and my picks for the whole playoffs. The theme for the 2024 playoffs will be run the ball. I'm telling you right now, the team that win this week, all the teams that we're going to see win in all of these games are going to be the team that runs the ball better. I can tell you that right now. Whoever runs the ball better is going to win all of these games.
Well, I know who Mike's picking.
That being said,
Yep.
my number 3-pointer.
Ravens over the speed.
I have to stand on business, which I mean, I'm still feel good. I wish Kirk Cousins hadn't fallen apart. If you remember, ladies and gentlemen, in the preseason, I said it would be the Ravens and the Chiefs and the Falcons and the Eagles. Kirk Cousins fell apart at the seams about halfway through the season. Luckily for me, the Jets were god awful, so everyone seemed to forgot that I picked the Falcons because that was a god awful pick.
I didn't. The only reason I didn't forget that you picked the Falcons to go to the Super Bowl is because I also picked the Falcons to go to the Super Bowl.
God damn, what the fuck?
I had 2 fucking terrible ACL quarterbacks in the Super Bowl. Next year, I picked the Browns and Deshaun Watson in the Super Bowl.
You did. But the other team that I picked for the NFC Championship game, I am still 10 toes down.
Go Birds.
Fly, Eagles fly. Jalen Hurts looks like he's going to play. Give me the Eagles. The Packers scare me because Josh Jacobs could really ruin
They
my
also
day.
run the fucking football.
He could ruin it.
Yeah, that's mine.
He could ruin it. But I gotta put faith in who, if I was an MVP voter, who I would vote for, and that's Saquon. Saquon is my MVP, and I just gotta believe it's not his first playoff game, but it is his first home playoff game. I think Saquon is just gonna go crazy, and
Week 1 revenge game for the Packers.
Give me the Eagles 3+3. Give me the Eagles for my 3 points. If you've been with us all year, you know that there's one rule that Mike has followed all year, and it took me to the championship. Bet on the Ravens. I am undefeated this season when picking the Ravens. You can go back and look. There is not one game Actually, I'm lying. There's one game I lost when I picked the Ravens, and that's when Anthony's Raiders beat them.
In those weeks don't count because of Roz.
Why?
Because he wasn't in yet. He didn't come in until week 3 or 4.
That's the only game this season I picked the Ravens that they did not win. And as Dylan's telling me, it didn't count. So it never happened. So I can say I am undefeated
because
the Ravens.
You and I picked the Ravens last week.
I have the Ravens in the Super Bowl. I picked the Ravens in the preseason to win the Super Bowl. So I have to pick the Ravens. Every week, I have to pick the Ravens. So we're going to rock it until the wheels fall off. 2 points this week. Give me the Ravens 2 points in a game that scares me to death because I hate division playoff games because anything can happen in these division playoff games. But give me the Ravens for 2. And I was truthfully going to pick the Vikings for my 1 pointer. But listening to you two, there's an opportunity here for me to get some points and get a good lead. Because there's no world where the Broncos are going to Buffalo and beating them. I don't know. It's gonna happen. I almost picked this game to be my 3, but I really think the Eagles are going to win. Give me Buffalo for my 1 pointer because Josh Allen is about to show you why he should be second in MVP. I know Patrick. I know Surtain is
all world.
Honestly,
all world.
Honestly, if we're being Dylan, it's the same thing with never giving
it's a fact.
Player of the Year in the NBA. It's the same thing. That man is the best defensive player in the world right now. I know is TJ Watt,
Miles Garrett
exists. I know they exist.
Hendrickson
is Surtain.
I know he exists. I know he exists. But you tell me who had a better season than him. He's on a different level. This is the prime. This is his year. And I know he's over there, and I know he's probably going to shut Keon Coleman down. I know that.
You think he's going to be on Keon Coleman?
I do.
No, he's going to be on Shakur. He's going to be on Shakur.
Sure?
Yeah, it's going to be on Shakur.
I don't think he's going to have a designation until maybe the second quarter.
Because the Bills they spread the ball so much, so.
If they see Amari Cooper cooking, guess who's be on Amari Cooper? They're going to move him to whoever is getting the ball.
My opinion, it won't matter because James Cook is going to go crazy in this game. Run the ball. Bills 1 pointer. You two will be wrong, and I will have.
I did, but he didn't pick the Bills.
You didn't. Oh, he was scared to pick it.
I
missed out.
I did, but that's totally fine. I get it. I think we got a 90s rivalry right here. Broncos and Bills. Jim Kelly, the greatest Bills quarterback of all time. John Elway.
You can say that probably for another 2 weeks.
But Mike, I also got to let you know, Broncos led the league in sacks this year too, as well. On top of that,
Josh Allen is also.
I would say, so they're gonna sack Josh Allen because that happens a lot, right?
Listen, the Bills also have like the fewest turnovers, but the Bills have gotten lucky falling on a lot of fumbles. They've been the ones to recover their own fumbles. Like that can't last forever, right? If that does happen, I expect the Broncos to be able to at least recover something. But
I agree.
I think the Broncos will get one mistake out of Josh Allen. One mistake. They will have to capitalize on that said mistake, but I think they'll be able to get one.
I also don't know if Bo Nix is that evolved to just come out of the gate in his first playoff game run.
Oh, they're going to run the football.
That's my fault.
But at some point, Dylan, when we get in the playoffs, he's going to have to make a play.
Yeah.
He's going to have to make a big boy play. And I'm not saying he's not capable of it.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
History tells me rookie quarterbacks don't do it the first time.
Nope, but history also tells me that defense wins championships. And I know this Broncos team's not winning no title, but this is their championship.
Bills by a billion.
I see what you did there.
I say Bills, but definitely not by a billion.
No.
Definitely not. I think it'll be closer than you think.
I also, and just without the confidence picks, I think the Texans are going to win. I think the Vikings are going to win. And I think Tampa Bay is going to win.
I think the Chargers are going to win.
That Commanders game scares me. I don't know who's winning that game.
The Eagles game scares me. I don't know who's winning that one. That's why I stayed away from
I think the Packers are winning that game. They're going to beat the Eagles.
Yeah, I just don't know. That's why I stayed away from it, because it's too close to call for me. I think the Vikings win. I think the Chargers win. If I had to put money on it, I'd say that the Eagles are going to win. But there's a part of me that I believe the Packers can win this game. And if Jalen Hurts has a stinker, Mike, wow.
Which is possible. He hasn't played in 3 weeks.
Go pump my gas, Jalen Hurts. Go make it gas.
There's a lot of pressure on this Eagles team.
You're a Saquon Barkley merchant.
But Saquon, I trust Saquon. And now there's only one thing left to do. We do this every year. I thought Breezy was going to come in and give it to us his pick, where he always gets at least one Super Bowl team right. He's gotten at least one Super Bowl team right every year we've done this podcast. So you'll see it on our Instagram, on the socials. It's time to make those Super Bowl picks. Who's playing in the game and who's winning? You do not have to stay with your preseason picks, even though I don't think Dylan's either team is there, and I don't think either team for Anthony is there, actually. But whoever you feel right now, looking at it objectively, who's going to the dance? Who's going to New Orleans? Anthony.
Hold on, let me get you a bracket.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't want you to pick game that is physically impossible here. So I'll do you as much of a favor as I can. Try to find a
Why use that? Make sure you follow us on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram. Anywhere you get your podcast, we should be there. Go up one more size. Yes. Actually, it's the bowl. Let's give them the special graphic for the bowl. There it is, Anthony.
Ugh.
Remember that the seeding, it reseeds every round. So home games and stuff like that reseeds every round. In case you have Kansas City or Detroit losing early.
So I'm just picking the Super Bowl. Who I think is going to be in the Super Bowl.
And the championship game
and who's going to win.
Oh, okay. Oof.
It's tough this year. It's tough.
All right. I would say the team that I'm going to ride with in the NFC all the way to the Super Bowl, I'm going to roll with those guys from Minnesota. And then on the AFC side, damn. I want my guy Josh Allen to go all the way this year. But something's telling me it's going to be Lamar Jackson. So I'm going to have the Vikings and Ravens in the Super Bowl.
I was about to say you're about to pick the fucking Vikings who have lost 4 Super Bowls, and then the Bills who have lost 4
I'm going to. And the winner will be the Minnesota Vikings. They will beat the Ravens in the Super Bowl, and they will win it all.
Hey, I'm not mad at it. It could definitely happen. Dylan.
All right, so my championship games. I have the Lions versus the Commanders
Oh,
in the NFC Championship game, and I have the Chiefs versus the Ravens in the AFC Championship game.
I don't think we can get your championship game because it received if the Commanders win, they have to play the Lions.
Yeah, I thought we were just doing Super Bowl.
Oh, right. Oh, no. Yep, you are correct. So
Well,
I can't
he's
get
giving his conference picks. I just want to make sure that he knows that cannot happen
unless the Packers win.
No, the Commanders. Oh, unless the Packers win, you're right.
If the Packers win. So if the Packers win, then I have the Commanders. If the Packers don't win, then I'm probably gonna have to roll with fucking Philly at that point. But it's all dependent, right? So tentatively, Lions, Commanders. That's what I want to see. Chiefs, Ravens is what I want to see on that side, and then I'm going chalk. I think we get Chiefs, Lions, and I think the Chiefs go for history. First team to three-peat, cementing Patrick Mahomes as the greatest of all time.
What about Andy?
Get that shit.
No, and then Andy
Fuck
Reid
that
gets to
shit.
be in that, like, he is the one. I think that puts him in the rarefied air as well. It's like, Bill 6 Super Bowls, all that shit, right? But you get looked at different when you get to do that thing that nobody has ever done before. So I would be okay with the Andy Reid greatest head coach of all time talk if this happened. You get like 2 solidified things. You get Pat Mahomes as like the greatest of all time, and then you get Andy Reid as the greatest of all time. Especially in football. That shit's the hardest shit to do.
Yeah, it's impossible. No surprise for me. I have Eagles. I have chalk actually. I have Eagles, Lions in the NFC Championship. I have Ravens, Chiefs in the AFC Championship. And I have Eagles, Ravens in the Super Bowl. With the Ravens winning the Super Bowl. Hopefully, maybe that will get me a speaky finally. You know,
when you ask for it, it makes you want to vote against you.
We've seen instances of this happen before in this pod, but when it comes to me, it will not happen.
Don't worry, I was just robbed.
I agree with you. I voted for you. But
oh God, cry me a river.
Ravens are still winners. Lamar hoist that trophy in what would be a tremendous game. And those are our picks. We will get Roz and James, who I'm anxiously anticipated because James gets one team right at least one team right every year. Every year. So I'm hoping he picks them Ravens. We will get Roz and James's picks along with our acts around our guy Steven. We'll get Steven's pick. We'll have the graphic up like we do every year. Graphic up. get ready for the next 4 days, the best 4 football days of the year now. College semifinals, NFL Super Wild Card Week, 5 days because there's a game on Monday. Wild Card Weekend, and guess what? We will be right here next week to recap. James will not be here again because he hates this time of year, but we'll be here to recap the football. I know we're going to have a lot to talk about because there should be some more coaching vacancies open. There should be
It's
some.
gonna be some upsets too.
There's
It's gonna be some upsets.
I'm calling it
ones
right
hurt.
now. If the Jets hire Matt Nagy, who they completed an interview with 5 weeks ago, I'm jumping out this window. Live.
Well, if it's just
Live.
it's just me and Mike, you'll know what happened. Stay tuned, guys.
No, it'll be me here first. I'll start off with you guys, and then like, oh, I got Bad Producer Podcast, Poppy.
So yes, join. We got to do I'm him. Do you guys have I'm him for the week?
I'm him.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna wait on you, but
No, go ahead.
no, I'll go first. All right. I'm him for me goes to one Amik Robertson. Got to give that man his flowers. That man did his thing, locking down Justin Jefferson, putting him in man coverage. He rose to the challenge. He rose to the challenge and he did extremely well. So I got to give that dude on him for this week.
I'm him. Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson crossed 100 catches. So shout out to him. 3rd straight consecutive year of 1,000 yards. Another 100 catch year for him. He is the only Jet since Brandon Marshall to have 100 catches in a season. And he's like the first Jet ever to have 3 consecutive 1,000-yard receiver years in his first 3 years as well. So shout out to Garrett Wilson. Great season.
You're a fraud because how is your I'm him not Mike Evans?
You know what? Take it back.
Fraud.
I completely forgot. I'm him the entire Buccaneers offense for saying fuck me. Mike Evans needs 5 yards. And Baker Mayfield being mad at Bucky Irving for not kneeling and just running the touchdown. And like, Baker, what were you thinking when Bucky scored that touchdown? He's like, shit. Because I didn't bring the ball back. And instead of taking a knee, Mike Evans, here's your gimme. And they still tried to prevent him from getting it.
They tried. They tried it. They tried to stop it.
Death.
Baker caught him with the quick
taxes. Mike Evans for 1,000. Until proven otherwise, Mike Evans going to have 1,000 yards. That's why he is probably the safest fantasy football pick to make every year. Because he's going to have 1,000 yards and fucking 5 touchdowns.
Next year, he will stand alone for most consecutive 1,000-yard seasons with 12, and he'll be.
Jerry has 14.
But Jerry's 14 aren't consecutive.
Oh, they're not consecutive. Yeah.
That's what I was about to say. Mike Evans has tied the record for consecutive, which is crazy. He's still. I think he can actually do it next year.
I think Mike Evans can break. I think he could tie Jerry Rice total.
I don't know.
Dude, how old is Mike Evans now?
31.
If Mike Evans is only 31, absolutely.
You got to do it 4 more times. 3 more times.
So, I don't know. I think he could tie.
No.
He only needs 2 more.
No, this is 11. This year
This is
11.
12.
No, this is 11. This is 11. No, this might be 12.
Hold on, where are you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. No, it is 11.
It's 11. Yeah. He's not getting it. Four
3 more. No, 3 more.
4 more to break it.
I don't think he'll break it. I think he'll tie it.
That's pushing it too.
I think he'll do it. Listen, T.O. was getting 1,000 yards at like fucking 35, 36. T.O. is a fucking genetic freak.
It's not T.O.
Shout out to all my freaks. You ain't bad. You're not the big bad booty daddy.
Greatest nickname ever.
Big bad booty daddy.
Ever.
Shout out to Scott Snyder. I met him, Scott Snyder.
My I'm him is also Mike Evans. And the lineman for the Ravens that got the pick that ran and instantly made a business decision to take a knee. Forgive me for not saying it right now, but those two are my I'm him for this week because that was a business decision and he made, as hilarious as it was, he would not have scored. He would have gotten 3 more yards and then he would have gotten caught.
He literally said they turn big boys getting touchdowns into memes, and I want to become mean, so ran out of gas.
Yeah.
No more gas in the tank.
That's what he said. The truth was
no more gas in the tank was
the gas
I'm going
tank
down.
ran out after 2
I'm
steps. He was
I'm
like,
going down.
I'm going down. I'm not gonna get me to run out of gas out here. They was already up by 1 billion points anyway. Yeah. Business decision. And the right one, I think. But yes. So that is it for this week's show. Like I said, join us next week. We will recap everything for Breezy's not here. But for Anthony, Podcast Bobby, I'm your host, Big Mike. We are out of here. We will see you. Adieu.